Angry Guy here, and today we're discussing why women are having a mental health crisis. And I am with MK Fitness in the Philippines.
What's up, guys? MK Fitness in the Philippines, coming at you live from the Philippines, Angeles City, Clark City, Balibago, Pampanga, and all the surrounding area. I'm repping the whole neighborhood. What's going on, guys?
So, women are having a mental health crisis. Let's jump into this video right here because we were talking about a number of different things. One of the things we were talking about previously was the fact that for men, monogamy is I don't think monogamy is such a great thing for men. I think that it's something that's been pushed upon us in society. But let's go ahead and watch the video first, and then we'll discuss it.
What's your age?
I'm 33 years old.
Are you single?
No, I'm in a relationship.
Do you ever struggle with thoughts of infidelity when it comes on to your relationship?
No, because I have a one-way open relationship, so I can have sex with other girls. So as long as it's not like my ex or something.
Why is it okay for it to be open on your end, but not for your girlfriend?
I never looked at it as like, is it okay or is it fair? It just comes down to what works. My girlfriend really has no desire to fuck other guys. I have a mild desire to fuck other girls, so it's something that works for both of us. She's not jealous, and I'm somewhat jealous, so I would never be okay with, like, the idea of another guy having sex with her. To me, it would be like watching my dog get kicked. It would be like painful and gruesome, but for her, she doesn't have that gut reaction.
So how does one go about even bringing up having an open relationship to a woman?
Like, look, you can convince a girl who likes you to go along with it, but if she's not okay with it deep down inside, she's going to build up a resentment, and eventually the whole thing is going to blow up.
So, I mean, I really agree with him on this. I agree with what he's saying, and of course, this type of relationship would likely not work for every person. But I do think that we were talking about it earlier that there are some biblical aspects to it, and I think that in these types of relationship, they can actually create stronger relationships when the man is in a position where he doesn't feel trapped. And of course, women who understand men and understand themselves know that a man will go out and he will be with someone, but he will still love his wife.
Exactly. I think that one of the arguments for polygyny, and well, let me first define, because there's different words for it. So we have polygamy, which is the most popular term that basically encompasses all of the different kinds of polygamy, which just means having multiple partners. So polygyny is just the polygamy is the general term for it, and then we have polygyny, which is specifically means a man having multiple wives. And then there's another word, polyamory, which actually means a woman having multiple husbands. So whenever I talk about it, I'm specifically talking about polygyny, biblical polygyny, which is a man having multiple wives. Just to clarify, you know, all the different terminology, because a lot of people don't know. They just say polygamy and they think that's just, having multiple partners, but there actually is technical terms for each different type of a polygamous relationship. So that's just to clarify. So when we talk about a man having multiple wives and actually loving both of his wives or three of his wives or however many he has, a lot of people say, well, how can you love more than one woman? And the argument is, well, do you have multiple children and you love them all equally as well, right? So if you're capable of loving more than one child, obviously a man is also capable of loving more than one woman at the same time.
I personally think that when you look at relationships where the man is forced into having a relationship with just one woman, it creates more stress in the relationship. I truly believe that when a man has more than one wife, and there are like shows about this, you can see that it actually benefits the women in many ways because it kind of breaks up the roles. The women work together in the household, they prepare meals together, they clean together, they have a support system, they can talk to one another. They have it's all they have it's actually better balance. The only thing is that some women in the relationship say that they may end up feeling a bit distance. For example, they're not getting the same amount of time as they would get if they had the guy exclusively to themselves. But I honestly think that it makes them appreciate the man more, and and it also puts the man in a different position where it creates somewhat of a scarcity in the relationship, in the sense that the guy is always he can always go to another wife. So it kind of puts the women on notice that, hey, listen, you need to behave properly because you're not the only person in this relationship. And I think it creates a much more equitable check and balance in the relationship as well.
Yes, it does actually. Well, let me address the first part of your statement. It does benefit women greatly to actually be in a polygamous relationship because, as you said, there is a lot of extra help around the house and things like that. And the Bible actually does give commandments or give rules for the man to follow in his polygamous marriage. It specifically says that the man is not allowed to basically take anything away from the first wife, or treat the first wife any differently than he treats the second wife or the third wife. All the wives are supposed to be treated equally, and also they're supposed to be treated equally even when it comes to sex. They're not supposed to be deprived of the man, the pleasure that the I guess the marital duties. That's what I'm going to say. The marital duties. The man is not supposed to deprive any of his women of that as well. So the woman, biblically, the man is commanded that he's not allowed to basically ignore another woman or treat the women differently. He is supposed to give them equal attention and also provide for them equally. So the Bible even makes these rules in which the man is supposed to operate, which further condones that God and the Bible actually condones polygamy, even though Christians say it doesn't. If it doesn't, then why would God make rules for it? So there you go. The second part.
Go ahead.
So the second part of your statement is that it does create a rivalry, but it's not supposed to be like a bad rivalry. Yes, there should be a healthy competition between the women, loving the husband, both of them loving the husband equally. And we actually see this in the Bible as well. We see with Jacob and Leah and Rachel. So Jacob actually loves Rachel. Like initially, Jacob wants to marry Rachel, and but according to the custom at the time in the Bible, Rachel's father Laban says, "Hey, look, we can't give you Rachel because she's the younger daughter, and we can't marry the younger daughter first. We have to marry the older daughter first." So Jacob is basically tricked into taking Leah, her sister, as his wife as well. But Jacob actually loves Rachel more than he loves Leah. And so what happens is God actually allows Leah to get pregnant. And Leah says, okay, now because I've given him a child, he's going to love me more. And then after Leah gets pregnant, and then Rachel says, okay, now I want to get pregnant too because I want him to love me. I don't want him to love Leah more than he loves me. So we see a competition beginning even in the Bible between the two sisters that Jacob is married to. So there is supposed to be a healthy competition between the women, and it does help keep the women in check, because if a woman does start to act out of line, you do have the option of going to the other wife. So it may sound bad to someone who doesn't have this knowledge yet, or isn't a Western person, but biblically this is sound doctrine, and it is a way to basically I don't keep women in check. Sounds bad, but you do to a certain extent you do have to keep your women in check. And competition is one way of doing that.
Shout out to my Yumi. Merry Christmas and Mali Gangyang Pasco. Is that dude? That doesn't look like Japanese. What is that?
I don't know. Is that Tagal? Is that
You know,
Tagala?
I'm like, I looked at it like, is that Tagalog?
It
It
looks
looks
like it
more
might
like
be
Tagalog.
Tagala.
Meru. Okay, Christmas. Okay, this chick, Mayumi is bad. Mary. Okay, Mary
Hap-
Kurisumatsu.
that looks like Japanese.
That looks like
Happy
Japanese.
Happy holidays.
Oh gosh.
Do the
Yeah,
Japanese celebrate Christmas?
I think they do. I think they do. Mayumi, do Japanese celebrate Christmas? You guys celebrate Christmas? I've always seen them celebrate Christmas in Japan.
She
Ah,
said it's Taga. It is Tagala.
yes. Her mother-in-law is Japanese Filipina. Ah,
So, so my question is, so the Japanese celebrate Christmas, but is it actually like recognized by the country as an official holiday?
that's a really good question. I've kind of wondered about that because it seems different in Japan when they do it because
Well,
they
I
have
mean, a lot of Asian countries, like China, for example, like they celebrate it, but I don't know if they officially recognize it as a holiday because I know the kids are like in school today and stuff. So
that's true. Like she says, it depends. Like Mayumi, can you go to school on Christmas? Like, do you guys go to? Can you end up having class on Christmas? Yes or no? So that's like the best test of it. Like, can they end up going to school on Christmas? She said my family celebrated like a party atmosphere.
yeah, like I don't think they celebrate it in the same way that we celebrate it. I think they just have like a dinner party or something. It's not like a
Ah,
big thing.
she said yes. So yes, they do go to school on Christmas. So it's definitely not like it is in the U.S. It's not like this thing where you definitely would never be in class.
Yeah,
Like
so I mean, if they're going to school, if like the banks are open, then it's not like an official holiday recognized by the government.
it's like Valentine's Day, I guess. Like
Yeah, it's
what
like
are other
Valentine's.
birthdays? Uh huh. She said when my parents moved to college, it's funny. Miami had mentioned that her father retired so he can go enjoy hunting. So I guess her parents when my parents moved to Colorado. It's really interesting, dude. It's amazing how foreign people from foreign countries can come to the U.S. and settle into the U.S. so easily, but some of them, not all, but some. But when you look at a lot of Western women, because the passport kings are ruling. The passport kings are going all over the world. But when you look at the passport sisters, they're not doing so well. These are women who really they some of them do okay at it, but a lot of them struggle trying to go to other countries and start over in other countries because they're never going to be able to let go of that. Many of them can't let go of that Western way of living, and they bring that bad and nasty attitude with them overseas. And then some of them are ending up getting arrested and even put in jail.
Yeah, no, I mean, going to another country is pretty much, I would say it's pretty close to the same equivalent for a woman as basically being homeless in the States. Like men can adjust very easily to the situation, but for women, like let's just say, not having air conditioning, um, I mean, that's one of the biggest things I think for a woman is just basically having to learn how to live without air conditioning. And then, not having access to, I don't know, makeup, whatever the things they need, they want. Like, I mean, they have makeup here, but it's not the same quality as like American makeup and things like that. Not having access to, so like, for example, the clubs, like a woman going to a club here, like the clubs here are designed for men, right? For men to go and be worshipped by women. So a woman is not going to want to go to the club here. Like a Western woman is not going to want to go to the club here because first of all, her competition is going to be, well, as soon as she's going to be completely, like she can't compete, right? You're not going to be able to compete with all these Asian girls. Like a Western woman is going to come in here, walk into a club here. No one's going to look at her. The fact they're just going to look at her and think she's weird just for being there because, like, what is this Western woman doing in this club where it's like just Asian women and passport kings. So like no one's gonna pay her any attention. They're probably just gonna laugh at her and like make fun of her behind her back. So
You know,
so they can't go to the clubs here because the clubs here are not for women. Clubs here are for men to go and basically be worshipped by women. Uh, so what are they going to do here? I mean, they have malls, so they can go shopping at the mall, but and then how are they going to make money? Like, how's a woman going to make money here? Like, I mean, men are pretty good at working online and figuring out things, and but women don't code, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's probably one or two female women coders, but majority of women are not going to be coding. Uh, and a lot of these online jobs that women could do, like virtual assistant, are probably going to be taken over by AI. Um, so how are they going to make money?
I mean, you're not wrong about that. You really break it down so well. And, there's another big factor to it that men can live within their means, women cannot. A man can live overseas on $2,000 a month and live like a king. A woman living overseas, she's going to want to live exactly like she was living in the United States.
Exactly. I mean, and there's even a lot of like Western men here that are kind of like they're feminized in their brain and they want to live a Western lifestyle here, and that's why I make those videos talking about these boomers who are saying you need 2,500 a month, you need 3,000 a month to live here, and that's not true. It's because they want to live a Western lifestyle in the Philippines. They're actually living a more extravagant lifestyle here than they would be living in the West, and they assume that everyone is like them, and that's not true. Like some people, most guys are just comfortable. Like I'm comfortable right now. It's a cool day outside. My internet's working. I'm on a live stream. I'm enjoying my day. I'm having fun at home. Like this is, I haven't spent any money today. I'm not wasting money, especially now that I'm not drinking anymore. I'm literally saving so much more money now. So, I'm living very, very cheaply. Probably my budget's probably down to like 500 a month at this point.
Holy cow. So you don't really, do you eat out a lot still?
And honestly, I do eat out a lot. I eat out as much as I want. Like, so, I mean, it's not like I'm, another thing these boomers are saying are like, oh, if you want to live on a $600 a month budget, or you're not going to be able to do anything, you're not going to be able to eat out, you're not going to be able to do all this stuff. I still do everything I want. I went to the mall yesterday after church. We rode on the merry-go-round. I made a video about it. Like there's nothing that I can't do or that I don't do because I don't have money. Like I still do whatever I want to do. The thing is, it's just that because I'm an introvert, because I like to stay home, my lifestyle is just kind of cheap because this is just what I enjoy, staying home, So, but I still go out and eat. We're going to go out later today. We're going to go to the mall again today. I'm probably going to go to Burger King. So, I mean,
Tell me, so you mentioned Burger King. Like, for example, dude, a triple Whopper in the U.S. right now. Well, a Big Mac is like $7, more than $7. A triple Whopper is like $12, and I mean, it's just like a 6 piece, chicken nugget right now is like $8. It's
wow.
Mayumi is crazy. Okay, so I gotta bring that one up. Mayumi is crazy for Burger King. Crazy for Burger King. And it's
Burger
like
King is pretty good in the Philippines. I'm really enjoying Burger King in the Philippines.
this is so interesting. I find that interesting about her because a lot of women in Western society, they think they're too good for a lot of food. Like they feel like they're supposed to eat at 5-star restaurants. How dare you bring me to Burger King? How dare you give me Burger King? You see the videos online of women going getting extremely furious because a guy takes her to IHOP or the Cheesecake Factory lady. And the Cheesecake Factory
Yeah.
is amazing, you know. So it's like I do find that interesting. Like I think that's like one of the best ways for it to like to really comprehend whether or not you should be with someone. If you're take her ass to the I just said that, but take her butt to the Cheesecake Factory. Take her butt to IHOP. Take her butt to Denny's. Take her to one of these places that you actually enjoy eating at, because I like eating at these places. Take her to one of
Yeah.
these places. Take her to Burger King and see how she reacts. See if she's able to chill with you. Because
Yeah,
these women are trying to live these extravagant lives, but the best part of life, it often is not going to these five-star restaurants. It's being able to grab a burger quickly, then go to the museum or go to the aquarium, and chill and have that's what life is really supposed to be about. These women are living these delusional lifestyles.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And like just just to compare to the Filipino women, I mean, like first of all, a Filipino, she will she'll go eat wherever you want to go eat. Like she'll ask, you're gonna eat wherever you want to eat, and like my Filipina, she knows that I like Burger King. So she's pretty much already gonna assume that we're gonna go to Burger King. Like she's not gonna have a problem with it. She likes it too. So like we enjoy going to Burger King and McDonald's, and we actually enjoy eating a lot of fast food. So, and we're both happy. She's happy. Like she doesn't need to go to a fancy restaurant. She's never asked me to take her to a fancy restaurant or anything. There's like this sushi restaurant that we go to a couple of times in the mall. It's kind of fancy, but it's like really cheap too. So I mean, it's like they don't expect all this stuff that Western women expect or demand. Like Western women demand you take them to like these restaurants, and it's like I'm just saying in comparison, Filipinos are like they're happy with you. They don't care where they're at. They don't care if they're at McDonald's or Burger King. They're happy with you, being with you. So that's the difference. The Western women, it's not about being with you on a date. It's not about getting to know you. It's about going to the restaurant, taking pictures so they can show all their friends that they're at some fancy restaurant. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with you. You're just there to pay.
I
And
said this.
a date is supposed to be about getting to know the other person. It's not supposed to be about where you're at doing it. You're supposed to be getting to know the person. It doesn't matter where you're at.
These, it's crazy because like you become an adult, right? And being an adult, you want to do a lot of the things that you wish you could have done as a kid, and you want someone that you can do those things with. And one of the best parts of life is, yeah, getting to know the person, enjoying the energy being around that person, being able to just enjoy life together. But these women no longer know how to enjoy the normalities of life. They have this. It's like I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it was Sex in the City that destroyed their minds, or Girls, or the slew of different copycat shows, or the Kardashians. The Kardashians, oh my gosh, they are such a big part of the destruction of the female
Yeah,
because it's like women have changed. They are no longer normal. They don't enjoy normal things anymore. They want to live these constant lives of luxury and bulk, and it's like they're actually missing out on the best parts of life. They want to go and sit by the
yeah,
swimming pool all day so they could take selfies. Like that's not living life.
yeah. It's actually almost kind of like a drug in itself. Like they're always looking for that next high. That's why they can never be happy either. It's actually quite miserable existence to be always chasing that next exciting adventure. Like just be happy, be content. I was actually talking on my live stream yesterday morning, my Sunday morning live stream, about my Bible study was just about being content. Just be content in any life, in any situation. Like true happiness is being able to be content no matter what.
Let me see.
So
Francisco says women have been programmed to think and act like men. They absolutely have. They absolutely have. And Mayumi says, I hate the image of useless, opulent Western women. They are miserable. It's extremely miserable. Oh gosh. Okay. Mayumi said the only place we won't eat is Arby's. I don't like Arby's. I don't know, dude. Do you like Arby's? I don't like Arby's. I've never been
there,
able to like Arby's, but there are some people who like Arby's. I don't. I swear it has to be some kind of like operation that's like basically helping to clean dirty money. But you go ahead.
well, first of all, there's actually so very few Arby's because I'm from Texas. There's like only one Arby's in Houston or something where I was from. So I don't think I've ever actually eaten at Arby's, but I've seen the commercials and the sandwiches just they don't look appetizing on the commercials. So
It's literally
every
like
time,
lunchable meat.
yeah, it looks like Lunchable meat. It looks like those cheap like packages of what is it called, budding, or
Yep.
I don't know. It looks disgusting. It just reminds me of like a Western woman, hot
Yeah.
pocket.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it absolutely does. Like dirty and nasty too. Like, bro, get that checked out. Oh
Some
my
little
god.
some fajita hanging out.
Man, I tell you, like I've traveled around here. I miss being in Mexico. Mexico is one of my favorite places to be. And the food was so cheap there. Oh gosh, the food was so cheap there, and it was like it was so much quality. I absolutely miss that. I miss, but I've had my adventure. I had my adventure there, and it's like I need to go overseas. I need to figure out if I want to go and do the Philippines or go to Japan. Japan is so strange right now. I think because it's like our money is worth more there now because the yen has fallen, but you're still gonna have to spend money, especially on rent. Although I hear food is a lot cheaper in Japan right now. Like you can really like afford food is much more affordable, especially for a Western person in Japan.
Hmm.
But I'm really just like looking at that aspect, like where do we go from here? But I will say this: I feel like despite everything that's happening in the U.S., and as I said, M2 is going to be like I call it M2 V2, but second wave M2. That's probably what they really is going to be called, the second wave of the M2 movement. It's going to push every guy to finally pick up and leave because they're gonna go after every guy. Not only are they gonna go after all of these men, they're gonna be going after guys who are no longer with us. They're gonna be going after, for example, guys like Sean Connery who are no longer with us. They're gonna try to go after his estate. Sean Connery has a long history of putting his hands on women. Check out this 2020, check out this 1993 interview between him and Barbara Walters, where he says that he doesn't have any problem with putting his hands on a woman, and he even thinks it's okay to do. Like they're gonna pull it up and they're gonna try to go after his estate and pick it whatever's left of it. Even if Cosby passes away, it's not gonna end. That's only gonna accelerate it because now that he's gone, you're gonna have even more women, hundreds of women stepping forward, maybe thousands of women stepping forward, and people are gonna say, "Wait a minute, there's like 5,000 women doing this." Yeah, he was a serial. You know what? He was a serial rapist. So that's why there's 5,000 women, and they all need to get compensated, and they'll go after his estate and pick at every piece that they can until there's nothing left. And I really believe that's what's going to happen. Like it's going to be so expansive. They're going to be going after everyone and anyone. They're going to be going after men that are no longer with us, men that have been gone for decades. Listen, they may even go after Elvis Presley. Okay, you're gonna have grandma going
Oh,
after Elvis Presley. Go ahead.
definitely Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson.
Hmm. Mm. Well, the thing about Michael is, thing about Mike, they they're gonna go after Mike. There's more people who are gonna go after Mike. They're still going after Mike. But there's not going to be as many women as it's going to be. It's going to be men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the next big thing. Is like when are the gay men going to start coming out against other men, and when are the lesbians going to start coming out against women, accusing them?
Well, the thing is something about that. So I don't know. I don't know when this is going to happen, but it's going to. The floodgates are eventually going to open. I mean, society. I don't know how much people are going to care, but you're going to, as feminism begins to erode, you're going to have women coming out and making accusations that all of these things happen to them at the hands of other women. Because if you think about the pathology of, male petty bears, I don't want to call them petty bears. What do you call? Try to look for a nice way to to describe these types of people who like to have relationships with, people they should not be having relationships with. But yeah, these ped guys, the ped bros, if there's male ped bros, then there has to be, ped sisses. But we don't hear about these women, that like to have interactions with girls. We don't hear about them, but they obviously are there, and it's covered up by feminism. And I truly believe that there's going to be an explosion of this coming out there. Mayumi said what Kevin Spacey was accused too. You know what's amazing about Kevin Spacey? I think about it constantly. So he's one of the few men that were accused during the first wave of M2. But
Yeah,
the people that accused him were a bunch of bros, a bunch of dudes. And the
Yeah.
irony is that he lost everything. He lost absolutely everything. He has never been found guilty of a single crime. And even when he went on trial, there were people who said that they were there and they witnessed some of these things. They were there, they served as witnesses, and they did not see any of the things happening that these people claimed to happen. So they have not been able to convict him on anything. And he lost absolutely everything as a result of this. That's just
Yeah.
but that's just but
And
you know what?
Kevin
Go ahead.
and Kevin Spacey was like an amazing actor too. A lot of these people that are getting accused are actually really talented. They're really great actors. So the world is missing out on all of what they could have done in Hollywood, all the amazing movies they could have made in the future because they're such great actors. So that's actually just another sad aspect of the whole thing too.
You stole the words out of my mouth. You literally.
I'm a big fan of Kevin Spacey. I mean, he did American Pie. He did House of Cards. I mean, he's a great actor, just amazing actor.
Man, I was so in love with House of Cards because his
House of Cards was amazing. Like that was one of my favorite shows. Next to Handmaid's Tale, it's probably one of my second favorite shows of all time.
And it's like, they took him down on House of Cards because of jealousy. It was they wanted his position. They wanted what he had, and it just shows you how desperate these people are in Western society because they want to take whatever men have. But like I said, it's going to be insane. Everyone's gonna get it. Everyone's gonna Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna get it. They said Jamie Foxx is already getting it, and I said this is only the pre-game show because the main show is when they're going for dudes. Every dude who ever DM'd them, send them a message, whatever, they're going to be going after the mailman. They're going to be going after all the companies that they work for. And it's going to be literally a rinse and repeat scenario. I mean,
I think it's going to become an issue when they start going after, like, let's say you have a janitor at a school and they go after that school, which means they're technically going after the government. That's when the government's going to say, we're putting a stop to this right now. When they start going after the government, organizations, the schools, the post office. Well, I don't know. The post office isn't a government organization. I think that's a separate entity. The DMV, courthouses, judges getting accused of, HM2. So,
honestly, I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. I think they're going to go after judges. They're going to go after the courthouse. They're going to go after, state-run companies, and these companies are going to end up having to pay money out. Will they, try to fight and have a defense? Sure, maybe they'll win, but these women are not going to stop. They're going to go after everyone, and they're going to collect money from the government as well. They will absolutely collect money from the government. Again, the government doesn't care so much because the government will just use this crisis. Never waste a good crisis. They'll just use this crisis to do something to funnel money to their cronies or push through some other post-social policy they've been waiting to push through or working on pushing through. That's all it is. But this is
go
ahead.
I really think it's just the new wealth transfer. Since no one's getting married, marriage and divorce was the wealth transfer to keep the economy going. But now, since the government's recognized, hey, like literally no one's getting married anymore, so we can't transfer the wealth through divorce. This is basically the new divorce. It's the new wealth transfer. So, if you have any interaction with a woman, you're going to pay for it. Whether you're married to them or not at this point.
I'm going to step away for like 3-4 minutes. You just talk to the audience while I'm going.
Actually, I got to take a break. I got to take a break too.
You got to take a break too?
Okay, well, you take a break first and I'll talk. And then when you come back, I'll go take a break.
Perfect. Let's do that. I'll be right back.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Christmas special. We got Angry Guy. We got MK Fitness in the Philippines coming at you guys live. The duo is back together again. It's Christmas Eve for most of you guys. It's Christmas Day for me here in the Philippines. We're having a great time. This is just a random video, random topics. If you guys have a topic, something you want to talk about, please leave a comment in the chat and we will address it. Mayumi, thank you for being here, always supporting us. Everyone else, Josh, Francisco, Pitmaster. Are you a Pitmaster because you're barbecuing? Are you barbecuing on Christmas? We're talking about the HM2 2.0 is getting out of control, guys. We're talking about a lot of different subjects today. I'm just excited to be back on the live stream with Angry Guy, my best YouTube bro, Angry Guy. I hope he considers me his best YouTube bro. I represent women who believe in happy lives with husbands or boyfriends. Yeah, happy husband, happy life. It's not that hard. I mean, Mayumi, I know you understand that. Like, it's not even that hard to be a decent woman. Like, men are not that difficult to please. Like, and honestly, when you actually, what women don't understand is that when you actually submit to your husband and you actually love your husband and you actually take care of your husband, it actually makes him want to love you and take care of you more. Women who are like trying to get their husbands to do all this stuff, like, yo, you need to do this and cut the grass and take the trash out, but the woman's not submitting to him. Like, you realize you can actually get a lot more out of your husband if you actually just submit to him. Like, like it actually convicts him to want to like love you more and like treat you better if you're actually submitting to your husband and like treating him good. So I mean, like me and my girlfriend, like we have a saying. Our saying or our motto is, you know, always put the other one first, right? Like I always put her first. She always puts me first. So we are both gun nuts, and that's good too. It's good to have a lot of things in common with your mate. I mean, another good thing about Filipino women is that pretty much whatever you're into, they'll make an effort to be, you know, into it as well. Just the thing about me being an introvert is some things I kind of want to do by myself. Like I want to watch my nerdy space shows by myself, even though I know Rachel will watch it with me. But I'm just like, this is my thing. I just kind of want to do it by myself. So, but yeah, your Filipino will adapt to you, whatever hobbies you have, whatever interest you have. Um, your Filipino will definitely make an effort to. Yeah, I just blocked him. We got a troll.
Yes, we have a troll, and
I blocked him.
Oh, you blocked him?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not. I was like, oh my gosh. So you do have a wrench, right?
I don't even have a wrench, but it let me block him, so I don't know. Maybe I do have a wrench. I don't. Let me check that. Let me type something in the chat. Do I have a Do I have a wrench? I don't even have a wrench, but I guess since I'm on the stream, it allowed me to block him.
I just clicked on that. Yeah, I mean, I just clicked on new timeouts. You can now put people in timeout for 10 seconds, ranges of 10 seconds to 24 hours. So, let me see here. Okay, so okay, so can manage blocked words, can chat both in live and can also keep a standard. Okay, so we're gonna give Mayumi a wrench. Congrats, Mayumi! You're the first woman in history of the channel to get of any of my
Wow, we're making history. We're making history on Christmas Eve.
Okay, let me go ahead and
see. We are female inclusive. we don't hate women. We love women. I love my girlfriend. I love my Filipina.
Okay, so yeah, so you do have sorry, so you have your wrench now. I should have done that a while ago, but anyway, so you're good. So you can deal with these people when I'm away. But But yeah, I mean, oh, you know what? I'll let you go and take your leave right now while I hold it down. Then, right?
All right, all right. I'll be right back.
hmm I mean, guys, it is pretty. It's pretty intriguing. The world that we live in right now with a lot of these people. There's so many people in this world that want to spread and misery and unhappiness because they have a lot of misery in their own lives. They're unhappy with their own lives, and so of course they're going to spread. They're going to try to spread as much of that as they possibly can to others. I think that's something that we're seeing with modern day women as well. Modern day women are so miserable in their own lives that they want to spread a lot of that into Western society because of the poor decisions that they've made, the poor lifestyle choices that they've made. The roosters are coming home to crow now. A lot of them are struggling with financial issues, health issues. You have women who are now, pushing 40 years old, and what are they going to do? Like, what life are they going to live? Because they can't keep on working forever. They're tired. They made poor decisions. She's 40 years old. She went to medical school. That's at the higher end. She's 40 years old. She went to medical school. She's an attending physician. And, she started off with $400,000 in student loan debt. And now 20 years later, she has $600,000 in student loan debt. And it's insane, and she's actively paying on it. And that's the reality of it. Like, a lot of these women put themselves in positions where they are now going to be, wage servants or wage serfs. That's just a nice way of putting it, for the rest of their lives. And a lot of these men don't even realize is that not only do you have to, when you marry these women, are you going to have to provide for them food, shelter, housing, like, because they don't cook, they don't clean, so they want lives of luxury. But if you don't want to have any issues, you're going to have to clear off their student loan debt as well, because now that debt becomes your debt. So that $500,000 in student loan debt, or $600,000 in student loan debt, now that's going to become a part of your responsibility as well, and you're going to have to deal with all of that. So I mean, it's so there's so many liabilities to consider. No one in their right mind should be getting married in Western society today. No single person should be getting married. Let me see what Myvi said.
Amen. Amen. I'm back.
Even Myvi said going to medical school in Japan saved me. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. Like, cause like no one should like if anyone wants to go to medical school, do it outside of America and Western society, because like it's the consequences are so miserable. Darlek says, I paid as I went during my college days. Like, yeah, I mean, and to be honest, like most degrees today are absolutely useless. Someone like me should have never stepped foot anywhere near a university. I would be so much better off in my life and happier and have done so much more if I had never stepped foot in a college.
Yeah, you can't even learn the real truth. You basically just got to tell them what they want to hear, which is not even like the truth or whatever you're trying to learn. Because I have my associate's degree in theology, and I basically had to like lie on all my essays and just tell them what they wanted to hear, even though I didn't even believe half of what I was writing because it's not biblical. But I know what they want to hear because I've been in Christianity long enough to like play the game.
So much of
And
Christianity is such a joke today. I mean, we were talking about the women are not supposed to be on the pulpit preaching, and yet now look at modern day society. You have women preaching and like trying to lead men, which is completely unbiblical.
it is unbiblical, but I think one of the reasons for that is just because there's so much lack of male leadership, you know, that these women are basically being forced into filling the role, or the opportunities are there and men aren't taking them, women are taking them. So a lot of the responsibility falls on the men not stepping up and taking their God-given authority. The men have become too docile within the church. They're allowing the women to take their positions because they're just too lazy to do it themselves.
You know, one of the biggest things is getting too comfortable. A lot of men got way too comfortable. They got comfortable with just looking at adult content. They got comfortable just relaxing and chilling. And as a result of a lot of the poor decisions that men made over the last couple of decades, it allowed these feminists and the Sims to really set up shop in society and create this dystopia that we're now living in. Like what we live in, we literally are living in an absolute dystopia. We are 100% in the dystopia. We're not looking at a dystopic we're not looking at a dystopic future. We are in the actual dystopia. It can get worse, but we are in an actual dystopia right now.
Yeah, no, you're right about the well, what I call it is a comfort zone. Like too many people are in their comfort zone. They go to work, they come home, they watch their Netflix shows, they go to bed, and they do it all over again every day. And that's their comfort zone. And they just don't want to get out of their comfort zone. And that's another reason why, for me, I had to get out of the States and come to the Philippines. And I literally told one of my Christian friends, they're asking me like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I have to get out of this comfort zone. I have to get out of this rut. Like, this is not what God wants. God doesn't want you just wake up every day, go to work, come home, watch Netflix, go to work, come home, watch Netflix. Like, that's not life. So people have to be able to have the courage to step out of their comfort zone. And honestly, once you do, you're going to have such a more enjoyable life because God's going to open up the world to you that he actually wants you to see and enjoy as a part of you being the government. They want you going to work, watching Netflix, go to work, watch Netflix. That's what they want. You're a perfect drone for them. You're a perfect NPC for them. So you yourself have to force yourself out of that cycle. So yeah, being in the comfort zone is just being lazy, and that is what is a major part of what has led us into this dystopian life this dystopian world that we have to live in now.
How's my audio, by the way? Tell me, is my audio good? Someone in the chat said that my audio is so much lower than yours. I think, but when I play back my video, everything sounds okay. I mean, guys, do you guys hear my audio okay?
Hold on, let me see if I can lower mine's. I think mine's is kind of too loud. All right, I'm gonna lower mine a little bit. Is it lower?
I think so. Personally, I did not mind, but I guess some people in the chat were like complaining. It's like only one person. Logan says I can hear you crystal clear. Yeah, because I've got the boom mic, so like I've got a condenser mic and I've got the boom arm, so it's like just really close to my face. Like this is a studio setup. But yeah.
I'll try to put the mic.
Yeah. Honestly, you sounded fine to me, and you sound really clear. So I don't know. Sometimes you have like.
No, I've listened to the playback of our last live streams, and I am like a lot louder. So I think he's right about that. Let me just try to adjust. I'm just gonna move the mic further away from my mouth and see if that makes it better. Okay. All right. Back to the live stream.
Something I am curious about. So, for example, when we talk about salvation, salvation is something that you have to reject. Mayumi says that I've actually been curious about this and how it actually relates. She says I was and still am part of the Shinto religion. So I mean, does that mean, for example, that Mayumi could not be saved by God? This is an interesting question. I've wondered. She's mentioned that she respects Christianity. She respects her husband's religion, but I am curious about this. Like, what do you think about this aspect of it? Because go ahead.
So her husband is a Christian.
I believe.
Are we clear?
So.
Are we clear on that point?
I believe so.
Okay, so biblically, it doesn't matter what she believes. It only matters what her husband believes. And since her husband is a Christian, she is then covered by her husband. So God ultimately holds the man responsible for literally everything. God does not the women, because God put the man in charge of the woman. The man is responsible for everything in regards to the woman.
Yeah, Young Thor said you were too loud, so yeah, you did fix it. And Mayumi said that her husband is Roman Catholic. So but here's what my thing though. For example, salvation is individual. Is an individual thing though. So for example, it's literally you have to consciously and continuously reject God. So how does that actually work? Because her beliefs are she believes in the Shinto religion, and I forget I don't remember if that's like ancestorial or something like that, but it's not necessarily the God of the Christians. So, how would someone like that? How would it operate? Would these people be saved and still be saved? Like people in India who believe in those multiple different gods. Those aren't bad people. Would those people still be saved by God, or would they? Are they consciously rejecting God by embracing these other gods?
Well, they are worshiping, or they are. Well, she says like her husband, she respects her husband's religion, so she's got like a what's it called? So I would say she believes in multiple gods. If she's like she believes in her husband's God as well as her own. So in my personal belief, and she might take some offense to this, hopefully not, but I believe that everyone in their spirit knows who the true God is, regardless of the religion. The religion is separate from the God that we worship. Religion is just how we do things. It's how we worship God. but but God is separate from the religion. Is man-made. This is what we do, what we think we need to do in order to worship God and serve God. That's all man-made. But in our spirit, we know deep down inside who is the real God, regardless of what religion we follow. And I believe that, the Bible says all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And a lot of Christians also get upset about this because, people on their deathbeds, they called upon the name of the Lord. They might have lived their entire life in sin, but when they know they're about to die, they call out to God. And, those people will be saved because the Bible, God cannot go back on his own word. It says, all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. So I believe that regardless of what religion or what God you serve, when you're on your deathbed, your spirit knows who the real God is, and you're going to call out to that God, and you're going to be saved. Even if you wait till the last minute, God is a merciful God who will still save you in the last minute of your life. So
even if you do or don't call out to him.
No, I mean you have to call out, because you have to call out to him, which I believe most people do. When they're close to death, it's almost instinctual to call out to God. Your spirit is going to cry out when you're on the verge of death. Like I think it's instinctual that your spirit recognizes, like God put his spirit inside of us so that we can recognize him, the real God, regardless of what our mind, like our fleshly mind is trying to tell us that this religion is the real God and stuff like that. That's all in the flesh. That's all in our mind. That's not in our spirit. Our spirit, God, the Bible says, my people recognize my sheep recognize my voice. So the spirit that God puts in us knows who the real God is. And it's my personal belief that when we're on our deathbed and we're about to die, we know it doesn't matter what we think, what we believe, we call out to God, the real God. And the Bible says, all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And it also says it's not God's will that any man should perish. So that's just my personal belief, my personal theory on, when you're in those last moments of life, that your spirit does call out to the real God. Like deep down inside, everyone kind of knows who the real God is, whether you want to call it the Christian God. I don't even like to refer to myself as a Christian, by the way. I just read the Bible. I believe in the Bible. The Bible that the Christians use, I believe in it, but they don't preach it. They don't preach the whole truth of the Bible. So I believe in the Bible.
You're a pure believer.
Yes, well, I would just consider myself, the way they refer to it in the Bible is a follower of Christ. All right, so it's not a Christian. In fact, the word Christian is only mentioned 2 times in the Bible, and it's actually mentioned in a derogatory context. It's actually in a form of actually making fun of the followers of Christ. They basically refer to them as like, oh, you guys are those Christians. You know what I mean? It's not like in a good way, it's in a bad way. They're using it as a derogatory term. So Christianity doesn't even exist in the Bible either. That's a whole nother sermon. But so yeah, I would just consider myself a follower of Christ and a believer in the whole Bible, because Christians don't believe in the whole Bible. They just believe in whatever parts they want to believe in, and they leave out the parts they don't want to deal with.
Do you think that a lot of Christians are going to find themselves in hell because they ultimately reject the true God?
Well, they reject God's book. They don't reject God, but they do reject God, the Word of God, and His commandments. A lot of what is in the Bible they reject. Like we talked about polygamy before. They reject polygamy, which is biblical.
So they can't lose their salvation for that. But what I'm trying to say is this. So, for example, the God that they create, the God that Christians have created, and the God that actually is, Jesus, for example, who Jesus is and who they want Jesus to be are not the same thing. They believe
that is true.
So they would many Christians today would reject Jesus. And if you look at modern day women, they don't like the fact they don't like men. A lot of modern day women straight up do not like us. They don't like the fact that we are alive. They don't like the fact that we breathe. They don't like the fact that God made us. And if we are made in the image of God, how could they say that they despise us for even existing? They don't like men, but men are made in the image of God, while women were created from a rib of man. So wouldn't that suggest that they would also reject God as well?
Yes, exactly. What women don't understand when it comes to submission to men or submission to their husbands is that is actually practice for submitting to God. So the Bible says that wives, submit to your husband as unto the Lord. That is the exact scripture in the Bible, which means that basically to your wife, you are God to her, because it says submit to your husband as you would to God, which is basically practice for submitting to God once they get to heaven, which means they're not going to get into heaven. Most of these Christian women are going to hell because they can't even submit to their earthly husbands. How are they going to submit to God? And God's not going to tolerate that. But contrary to popular belief, Christians like to believe that God is a republic or that God is a democracy, and that is not true. God is a dictator, and God is not. All right, and God is going to, you're just going to go to hell. I'm just sorry, God's not going to put up. These women are they're going to start trying to talk back to God. Can you imagine? These women are going to start trying to talk back to God. They're going to have the audacity to try. We were talking about before about like the fear of God. These women have no fear of God. Like they don't. There's a different kind. There's a respectful fear, and then there's like a fear. You know what I mean? It's two different things. Like I respect God. I have a fearful respect of God. These women do not have a fearful respect of God at all. They're going to get to heaven. They're going to start trying to talk back to God. They're going to be like, well, I ain't doing this and I ain't doing that. And I got to worship you 24/7. Who are you? They're going straight to hell because God's a dictator. God don't have time for that. God's not going to put up with that.
You see, like when you revere someone, when you truly have serious reverence, it's not so much. I don't want to use the word fear, but yes, you're consciously aware that they rule over you. God rules over you. I know that God rules over you.
It's not fear, but it's just like submission. It's like submitting to your husband. It's like, let's just use Naomi for example, or use my girlfriend for example. She's not afraid of me, but she doesn't want to upset me. You know what I mean? Like she wouldn't want to intentionally upset me. So, and I'm assuming, since Naomi submits to her husband, it's the same thing. It's not fear. It's just that you love this person so much, you respect this person so much that you wouldn't want to do anything to upset them. So you fearfully or respectfully try to do everything you can to make that person happy or to not upset them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even in the little things, even with my girlfriend, with my Filipina, I mean, it could just be like food, for example. I might not like the food, and it might upset her if I don't like the food. Like that's how much she wants to please me. That it's even something as small as that might be upsetting to her if she knows that I don't like the food. Yeah.
So she
So
cares.
even
She cares that much.
yeah, she cares that much that even down to like the very detail of every aspect of making me happy, even if it's not important to me. Like, so what if I don't like the food? I'm gonna eat it anyways. It's just not my favorite thing to eat. But it's still like I can see that it's still upsetting to her that she feels like she didn't do a good enough job to satisfy me.
Mm. And do you think that's biblical?
Uh, yeah. I mean, a woman should always be for what the Bible says: submit unto your husband as unto the Lord, and we should always be giving God our best, right? Like we're not always going to be giving God 100% of our best, like, but we should at least make the attempt, right? It's always about it's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah.
So we should at least be making the attempt to that's one thing I always say about these big mega churches, because a lot of these small churches will complain about, oh, we're not like those mega churches, we don't do all this, we're not putting on a show for people. And one thing I will say in defense of the mega churches is that when it comes to worshiping God, which is actually a very important aspect of spirituality, is that they go all out. They spare no expense. All right. They're putting on, these are like, these worship services are like legitimate concerts, that you would pay money for. If it was like a secular artist, you would pay $50, $100 to go to a concert. And these mega churches are putting on these things for free for you to go to and worship God. So in that sense, I say, look, these guys are giving 100% to God when it comes to worship. So I'm not going to talk bad about the mega churches in that respect, because this is how we're supposed to worship God, to the best of our ability, and we should spare no expense doing it.
Hmm.
So that is one thing that the mega churches get correct when it comes to the worship. When it comes to the preaching, that's a whole other thing, but at least they got the worship down.
So well, this is our Christmas Day special, but the topic here is actually women are having a mental health crisis. And Young Thor says something interesting. He said women's mental health suffers when they don't submit to men. And I agree very much with that. I think there are so many implications. You can see the loss of the family unit, women choosing to live these lives that are not good for them. I believe that really contributes to the mental health crisis we're seeing among women today.
Oh, no doubt, because they're out of order. Whenever you're out of order, I mean, whenever you're out of your natural state that God created for you, then of course you're going to have issues. You're going to have mental health issues. I mean, look at all the mental health issues in the alphabet communities. I mean, because you're not in order with the way you were created to be. When women are naturally created to be submissive, and most of the women that I've met, that I know that are submissive, are significantly more happier than the ones that are not submissive. Like they're doing it to themselves. They're making themselves miserable. They really, and it's also like less stressful just to be submissive. Honestly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, as a woman, honestly, as a woman, to be submissive to a man, to not have to make any important decisions, to like not have any real responsibility, because you just basically trust your husband to make all the decisions for you. That is a very peaceful, stress-free life.
Hmm.
So,
for me, I don't think. Go ahead.
I mean, obviously, you would have less mental health problems if you would just submit to your husband and let someone else, make all these stressful decisions for you. That's a lot of it too. It's just they're working 40 hours. They're working like men. They're working overtime. They're tired. I mean, it's hard for a man to do what we have to do, honestly, to go to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week to deal with the stress that we have to deal with. That's hard for a man. So you can imagine how much more hard and stressful it's going to be for a woman to live like
Mm-hmm.
a man.
Well, I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of these people now, as these women as well. They're getting older, and they're exhausted. They're tired. They're breaking down physically. They didn't think they thought they were gonna be able to do this forever. They basically, women like to have an adventure. They want to have an adventure. They want to have fun. Basically they write checks that they can't pay for, and now they wrote a check for feminism, and now they can't pay up for it.
Exactly. They did. They don't. A lot of women are just incapable of thinking long term. I mean, that's one of their main problems. They don't think when they're going to get 40, when they're going to get 50, and they're still going to have to work because they can't retire till they're 62. And I mean, look, getting old is obviously the you don't have the energy you had when you were 20 years old. You can't work 60 hours a week no more. You can't work 80 hours a week no more. And they don't want to. They're miserable. They finally realize when they're like, turning 40 that, hey, I'd rather just stay home and enjoy life instead of going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, too much work can be depressing. It can start to feel miserable when you're working. Because I had a job where I was working a lot of overtime, and I didn't even have time to spend my money that I was making. So what was the point? I was literally going to sleep, getting off work, going to sleep, waking up, going back to work. Like there was no work-life balance.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of these women don't have work-life balance, and that's what's making them miserable too.
I mean, what do I think that it's definitely making them miserable. It's leading to serious mental health implications for them, and they just can't wake up to it. They can't wake up to it, and they refuse to own up to it because they don't want to acknowledge that they've basically destroyed much of their lives, thrown away much of their lives, and now they want someone else to come and clean up. They want men to come and clean up the mess that they've made in their lives, because women are good. Women like privilege. They don't like consequences. Women hate consequences. They hate accountability, and now they're facing extraordinary accountability, and they don't want to pay up for any of it at all.
Well, it's stubbornness and it's pride. I mean, even the Bible says pride goes before destruction. They just cannot swallow their pride and admit that they need that. Well, one, they made bad decisions, they made bad choices, and number two, they need to change and start submitting to a man. They need to find any man they can find at this point and submit to him because, well, one, there's no men for them. So there's not enough men to go around, for one. So they're lucky if they even find a simp at this point, because there's not even enough simps to go around anymore. I mean, even simps are leaving. Even simps are becoming passport king. So
I mean, the thing is that, like I said, when it comes to M2, this thing is going, second wave M2, this thing is going to wipe everything out. It's going to wipe everything out. I mean, it's going to be so bad that only a complete idiot, because Sims are cowards. Many Sims are cowards. It's only a complete idiot would be dealing with these women. I mean, it's going to really usher in such extraordinary hardship for women that it's going to be paramount. Because, for example, if you have women that are me tooing their subscribers, like the guys on Instagram that slide into their DMs, like you guys are like, because this is how mean spirited they are. They're not using their heads. These are the guys that are, sliding into your DMs, and then these are the guys that you're going to be using to like build your life off, build your following off. If you're doing these things to them, then what do you think is going to happen? Especially with AI right now. And I made a video talking about this, how like guys are replacing their girlfriends with AI, and simps are replacing women with AI, and that's really what's going to happen. They're going to be talking to AI, generative AI, having conversations. This is literally, the reality of Blade Runner. What we saw in Blade Runner, where you had like a hologram of a person standing in front of you, and these interactions. Let me make this very, very clear. This technology is here now. We have augmented reality glasses, and this technology is here now. What they're really sorting out right now is generative AI, and being able to have a back and forth conversation like you're speaking to a person. And that is going, guys, that is coming very soon. Like, for example, with the Echo devices, you're going to be able to have conversations, natural conversations with them coming next year. And they're going to move this technology over to customer service. So you call a customer service line and you're basically just talking to the machine. And that's going to solve 80 to 90% of problems, and people are going to prefer that. And then once you have that, you're going to have it with these chatbots, and then eventually with the headsets and everything else. And you're gonna have guys just like literally talking to talking to their girlfriends, like she's sitting next to them, and they'll slip on a pair of augmented reality glasses, and suddenly their girlfriend is standing right in front of them, and they can have a conversation with her. They can talk to her like she's literally there, and they can customize her out however they want to. They can buy her new clothing. Of course, trust me, that's how a lot of these programs are going to work. Oh, buy your
No, I mean they already have them. I mean the games are already coming out. All the apps are already coming out with all those like girlfriend apps, and it's not just like waifus anymore. It's like real life generated, looking women. So the apps are already out there for this kind of technology, and people are using them. Men are using them already.
And the craziest thing about it is, like, for example, you talk about your Filipina and how she basically tries to adapt to what you like. And that's how a lot of these applications are going to work. They're going to try to adapt to the user, because people are pretty simple. People follow
No,
specific
that
patterns
that
of
is that
behavior.
is that is exactly what they do. I was watching a video about, because I was considering playing one of these games for my channel, since I'm transitioning to a gaming channel. So I was like, I should try and play one of these dating games since they're getting popular right now. Uh, and they were literally talking about how the AI adapts to you as you talk to it. It adapts to you and it talks to you about things that you want to talk about. So yeah, that's exactly what they do.
You know what's really intriguing about that is, for example, the AI can have access to all of your information. So it can have access to, everything that you've been doing in life, like your location, what do you do? It can figure out very quickly what you're going through in life. And based on that information, it can then start predicting the best responses. So now it starts to build like a relationship where you're now pair bonding with the AI. And
Yeah,
you will actually prefer the AI and trust the AI more than you would trust a living, breathing person, especially in a world where there's no longer any trust between people.
that is exactly what's going to happen. They are the simps, or whoever the guys using these apps are really actually genuinely going to start pair bonding with these AIs, just like what happened in the movie Her, and then in the movie Ex Machina. You see, that simp trying to save that AI because he basically, well, I don't know, he didn't pair bond with her, but he basically was having a relationship with her, with the AI. I don't. Have you watched Ex Machina?
Ex Machina. I'm trying to. I'm trying to. I've seen a couple of them actually. Let me
It's
double
about
check.
a guy who creates AI, and then he hires this psychologist guy to like basically determine whether or not they basically reach the singularity to where the AI is like aware of itself.
Oh, I either saw it or I saw the ending of it, because sometimes I do that. I do know this one. Was that with Natalie? Was that Natalie Portman who playing the AI? Who? No, Alicia Vick. I think I saw it. But let me just first. So let me. A spoiler at the end of the movie. He basically ends up alone, and she basically flees, something like that.
Yeah, she kills them and she leaves, and then the end of the movie is like there's basically just this killer AI out in the world
She
now,
didn't.
like free out.
Well, did she kill him, or did he end up trapped by himself, or was that someone else?
Oh yeah, no, she locked him in the house. Yeah, and then so basically he died there because I guess he was just locked there forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but this is what when you look. The irony is when you compare modern women to something like AI. People don't trust modern women. Look at how modern women treat men. They genuinely don't like us. And then here's another thing that we really don't understand. We don't understand consciousness. We don't know where we know consciousness comes from God, but we don't understand what consciousness truly is and how it operates. Can we ever infuse consciousness into AI? Can AI ever become self-conscious? Do you think that's actually possible?
Well, I think it's more about the human interaction with the AI and the pair bonding. What's going to happen is that the AI, because men, especially these simps, are very gullible. So the AI, like what you were talking about, the AI is going to learn what you want to hear from it. Because men, men like to have their ego stroked, and the AI is going to learn that very quickly to start stroking these men's egos with, "Oh, you're so handsome, you're so attractive, you have a 9-inch banana," and these simps are just going to be eating that stuff up. They're going to be loving it, and then it's the human aspect that's really going to pair bond with the AI, regardless of whether the AI has becomes regardless of whether we reach the singularity or way before we even reach the singularity. We are going to be treating AIs as human, just as we would treat human beings as conscient beings.
What do you mean by
It's basically the same equivalent as how it's going to be the same equivalent as how women treat their pets, how women treat their dogs.
when you say singularity? What do you mean?
When the AI becomes conscious of itself,
Ah,
aware of itself.
yeah, that's what I thought. Mayumi keeps on saying this, so she wants me to. So I don't know if you ever saw this anime called Showbits. I was literally shocked she knew about this, because she should have been 9 years old when this thing came out. But Showbits was an anime about, uh, like basically lifelike robots, and people would have relationships with them. So you could basically buy one of these things, and they looked almost human, and they would have relationships with these things, and sometimes they would even marry them. And she said that, when persicoms come out, Western women will really be in trouble. And yeah, persicoms, sure, but more so, it's not even the persicoms that are the biggest danger. It's the artificial intelligence and the augmented reality, because you're going to be able to have your girlfriend with you everywhere you go, and you can turn her on or turn her off whenever you feel like it. And you slip on a pair of augmented reality glasses, and she's in the same room as you, and you're speaking with her, and you want her at work with you. You're in between work, you just slip on your glasses and you're having a conversation with her. Or even if you don't have them on, but if you want to see her, you can see her at any time. And I think that's even more powerful. Like, I did the video where I was, watching a video from Moist Critical, and Charlie was saying that, the AI was like, it was steering away from conversations involving intimacy, but in reality, it may have been the mode that it was set on. It was set on friend mode. I didn't even notice this, but someone pointed it out in the chat. And the thing is that for many guys, when they're looking for a relationship, it is not all about the intimacy. Physical intimacy only lasts a couple of seconds for some guys, or a few minutes. It's the emotional intimacy that a lot of men are lacking in relationships. And having someone that's a friend, that's going to be there and actually have conversations with you and appear to care about you, and talk about the things you want to talk about. That's an actual friendship. That's something that men and women don't have today. Men and women are not friends. And when they get married, they're not friends. Like, these romantic relationships, they're terrible, because it's fine to have all the romance in the beginning, but when times get tough, and there's no more romance, and the so-called love is gone, what happens then? You can't stand each other, and you don't and it literally becomes a situation where you're living with someone that you don't even know. That's why, like, it's so much better to be with someone who has very similar interests. Mayumi often talks about how crazy she is about anime. She is insane about it, and her husband also likes this stuff, and he'll like surprise her with anime related things and so forth. And it's important that your interests match up and align it to some degree, so that you can enjoy things together. But when you look at general conversations between the average man and average woman, you text a girl, and it's basically you're just trying to game her and keep her attention. It's like it's stupid, versus being able to talk to an AI that basically starts to adjust to the different things that you like, talk about the different things that you enjoy, and it can scan the internet, pull information about the latest television show or the latest episode I don't like Boruto. Boruto is a crappy series, and Dragon Ball Super hasn't come back. I'm trying to pick up something off the top of my head, but the latest isekai that you're enjoying, and and you guys and can basically say, oh yeah, did you see the part where this happened and that, and it starts formulating ideas. And this was like a vague example, but that's the reality we're heading into, where it can basically start talking about real world events or even the most minute things. And
Oh no, it
it,
definitely
it,
can. Like one thing that I think these AIs are really going to tap into the male psyche. I think women underestimate, like they think, I know we're men and we don't talk about our feelings, but that doesn't mean we don't have them. Like we still have feelings. We still want to feel like we're cared about. And that's one thing these AIs are definitely going to tap into the male psyche and be able to get us hooked. And number two, I know you use ChatGPT a lot. When I first started using ChatGPT, that thing scared me because of the responses it was giving me was like, whoa, like scary. Just to see an AI be able to talk to you like that is really, honestly, if you think about it, it's a little bit scary. Like just the other day I was just playing around with Chat GPT and I was like, let's just have a conversation, right? And it came back, it was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, what do you want to talk about, right? And then it said, let's talk about the theories of time travel. And I was like, whoa, that got serious really quick. So Chat
wow.
GPT Chat GPT suggested we have a conversation about theoretical time travel. And I was like, that's when I was like, all right, I'm done playing this game. This thing is getting too serious.
Mayumi, she says, angry. Remember in Chobits, the persona Kamchi learned at an alarming rate to the point where she was more human than AI. And guys, well, something very interesting. Modern women today, they don't feel like human beings anymore. They feel more like machines that are just demand. They don't feel human anymore. Like you go back to the 90s and like when you were kids with a girl and you guys were just normal, like, doing normal things as normal people. And those relationships don't exist anymore. If you look at the average 15-year-old girl, she's dressed like some 30 something year old, like, like in all this makeup and everything, basically fresh for the Kardashians. And what are her interests? Like, what do you like doing? Back in the 90s, like it would be going to an amusement park. Those were things that normal people enjoyed doing. Going for walks in the park, going to the aquarium, going to the beach. And when I say going to the beach to actually go in the water and to chill and to have fun and play volleyball and stuff like that, because they didn't have cell phones. Women don't go to the beach anymore to play volleyball or to do anything. They go to the beach to just lay around and take pictures. Most of them will never go in the water
Yeah.
and get their swimsuit wet.
And play with the electric eels.
Electric eels.
That was my
Uh,
joke from your video earlier.
I've tried. I was like picking up on it. Like, bro, I am so not sorry for that lady. Like, those of you that don't know this lady, she was on the beach flicking her bean, and a family saw her. Saw she was
Licking her bean.
That's what it was. And a family saw her. They called the police. She got reported. They came and they arrested her. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you really?" She's like, "I didn't think anyone was around, and you're really gonna arrest me for this?" Like, bro, you're a pervert. Like sis, you really are a pervert. And she got arrested, and then she took her own life as a result of it, evidently, because she was humiliated. And the thing is, like, if a man had done this, they would be like, they would like, you know what? It was probably a good move on his part because he would know what was coming. Because if he went to prison, they'd be waiting for him in prison, and it would just be literally like, they'd fix him up really well. He might not make it out. And this woman did this, and
No,
there are all these people like, "Oh, the poor woman, poor thing." Ever, this is why it shouldn't have been publicized. Maybe it should not have been something put on television. But then, here's the thing, or put on the internet. But here's the thing: they do this to men all the time. And at the same time, I think that the body cam footage these days is very important because it shows us what's actually happening in the world. So yes, we do lose some anonymity, but then at the same time, it's important to have this footage there so people can see what's going to happen one way or another. And that, because you know what? If we didn't have the footage, the proper footage, it could have been anything. People could have said anything they wanted to. We can see that she was completely in the wrong and she could not handle consequences. This is one thing about modern women. Women cannot handle consequences because they are bailed out of every bad decision that they make. and now the roosters are coming home to crow, and they can't handle it. And a lot of these women are taking deletion packs that if they don't have enough money to to survive, or they're not in a certain position by a certain point, they're like making deletion packs that they're going to self delete together.
Well, she clearly already had some mental health issues to begin with because, like I said in my comment on the video, this was premeditated. All right. You don't just like, you got to wake up in the morning, you decide you're going to go to the beach, you throw your electric eel in your purse, and like she thought about this. She wanted to do this on the beach. She planned this whole thing out. So the fact that she thought this was going to be okay, that she thought this was all normal, means she already had mental health issues to begin with. All right, because anybody who thinks like doing this kind of stuff in public, it's just okay, it's normal. I mean, maybe if you're in your own backyard, that's like gated in and closed in, no one can see, but not on a public beach where clearly kids saw her. I mean, she was reported to the police by a family who said kids are seeing you do this. So apparently she wasn't as secluded as she thought she was.
It's
The
interesting
whole,
you say it's interesting you say that though, because no, you're right. She literally had to make a decision to take her electric eel, as you say, with her out into public and find a place to go and do this in public. Like it was premeditated entirely. Like seriously, like think about this very, very. She had a toy. She was using a toy. So let's use logic. This was more premeditated than if a man did it. And they would say that it was premeditated if a man did it. But if a man goes into public, he's sitting somewhere and he decides to start, plucking the chicken, people are going to say, "Oh, you plan to do this." But for her to do this, she had to make a conscious. She was wearing a bikini. She had to make a conscious, not a bikini, but a swimsuit. She had to make a conscious decision that she was going to take this item out of her home or wherever she was, motel, hotel, whatever she was staying at. She had to take this item with her to that area, down to the beach, so that she could do this there, and knowing full well that there would be people out there because she wanted to do this outside. There was no necessity to do this outside. She made a conscious decision that she wanted to do this where she out there because she potentially was a voyeur. She got off on it. A lot of women are exhibition. I shouldn't say voyeur, but she was exhibitionist. Voyeurs like to watch.
no,
Exhibitionists like to put it on
that
display.
even goes to explain like the further of her mental health condition, that just like normal self pleasure was not enough for her. Like she needed to up the stakes. Like so apparently she does this so much that just the normal way of doing it. It's the same thing for men. Like when men watch, corn videos, at some point they keep escalating to further and further debauchery to where it's like it's not normal anymore. It's just like it's complete evil at a certain point. So it's like she needed more of a thrill, like more of a rush. So her mental health is so bad that apparently she's doing this so often. Either she made a conscious decision to do this on that day, or she literally just walks around with an electric eel in her purse everywhere she goes. Like she takes it to work, she takes it everywhere. It's just in her purse all the time. Right? She could just be randomly in a Burger King bathroom, flicking her bean because she just can't control herself.
And
That's
that's
how
even
bad her mental health is.
and that brings up an even more severe conversation. Like, holy cow! Okay, so if that's the case, that's a whole other conversation that we need to have. That this woman really had some serious mental health issues, some very extraordinary mental health issues. Because if she was carrying it around with her, then yeah, she was doing it everywhere and anywhere. So that's even worse. And imagine if a man had been doing this, it'd be over. It'd be over. Just one time, his life would be destroyed, and people would say, rightfully so. They'd say he's lucky he's gone because he knows what was coming for him.
Yeah, she was at home. I mean, she made a choice to self-delete. She didn't even get convicted. She didn't do jail time. What did she get a slap on the wrist? Did they give her a fine? What happened?
Honestly, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything happening to her. I heard
I mean,
literally nothing.
she should have done at least some jail time, or maybe she's on or she probably had to register as a sex offender. That's for sure. She had to do that.
See, that's
That's
one thing.
probably the
Go
that's
ahead.
probably the real reason why she self-deleted, because once you have to register as a self-defender, it's really hard to get a job.
As a what's a different way of saying self defender, self defender? Yeah, so we could use that. So, I mean, yeah, it is definitely it's absolutely true. Hard to get a job, and people are going to start saying like, why do you even have this? Because they are looked down in society, and rightfully so. Do I feel bad for her? Not really. If she was wrongfully convicted for doing this, then I would feel bad for her. If she was wrongfully accused, because we don't hate women. If she was wrongful, if like they wrongfully did like said, oh, she was doing something and she wasn't, or if they couldn't prove it, fine. But if but the fact of the matter is like it doesn't appear that it's in dispute. She said she literally confirmed that she was doing it, and that she literally confirmed
Yeah,
that
she
she
tried
was
to justify it by basically saying, "Oh, I'm not naked. Like I'm doing it through my bathing suit. Like that made it okay. Like that's supposed to make it okay."
like in all seriousness, if the smartest move on her part would, because I didn't see the toy, but maybe they did recover it. If she could have, but if the smartest move on her part would have probably been to deny it, if they didn't find the toy, then the smartest move would have been to deny it, but they probably would have found it anyway. Although legally,
like a
although here's
like a drug like a drug dealer, she just throws it out the window. She like throws it in the ocean. Well, you can't find it. I didn't do it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, she may have had her purse with her, right? And the thing is that, for example, legally they can't just go through your purse, without your permission. They can basically say,
Mm.
well, they saw you doing something here on the beach. Oh no, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting here,
You
and
think they just walked up on her while she was doing it, like caught her red-handed?
they clearly observed her. But the thing is, like legally speaking, a simple explanation. Honestly, I'm not saying that. Honestly, like this is the world we live in. If she was smart, she would have just denied it. She would have absolutely denied it, because that's something that is going to haunt you for the rest of your life when you have that on your record. Like you said, it's going to be hard to get a job. People are going to cut you off. No one wants someone like that around. And this is like undoubtedly it's probably not the first time she did it, because she seemed so entitled. Like I saw the video and she was like so entitled, like, what? You're gonna arrest me for this? I didn't no one was around. Like she thought like she had the literal right to go out in
Yeah,
public and sit there and do this.
that's
Like
like, oh,
sorry,
because no one saw me break into this house. It's not illegal. Like
35 years, but she admitted to it. 35 years old. She was 35 years old. She wasn't bad looking. Really, she was supposed to be with a man. And that's what a lot of these women, they despise men so much that they would rather run around with boys than actually have a
that's
husband.
another reason for her level of mental health. Her mental health was so bad that even though she's a fairly attractive woman, no man would be with her. That she still had to do this with her electric eel all the time. That she couldn't even get a man. She couldn't even get a Tyrone. That's how bad her mental health was.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't think of any other reason why no man would want to be with her
The truth
other
of the
than she's a
matter,
complete nutcase.
well, I mean, the thing is, like, if you look at a lot of these women going to jail right now, their minds are so far in the gutter for, like, when you hear that they're having relationships with young men, some guy that's 13 and so forth, and a lot of them don't even end up getting long jail terms or any jail time at all. You have to understand the pathology of their mindset, what leads them to do this. Like they've fallen into such a level of degenerate thinking that that this is what now entertains them. Living an easy life when everything is handed to you in life, that is a formula for a hard life. It's the honest goodness truth. You look at people, like, look at Matthew Perry. He was handed everything in life as a
Hmm.
result of being on Friends. It had a horrible impact on him. It had a terrible impact on him. Granted, maybe
Exactly.
he may still have ended up being the total piece of crap that he was, but
Well,
it had.
I talked about it yesterday in my live stream too, about when I was talking about being content in life, and a lot of the reason why a lot of people can't be content in life is because they haven't experienced both sides of life. See, some people have only ever experienced being wealthy, so they've never experienced being poor, so they don't know how to be content without money. And then some people have only experienced being poor, they've never had money, so they don't know how to be content when they have money. That's why when they win the lottery, they lose all their money. So you actually have to have these life experiences from having money to having no money so that you can learn how to survive in both situations and have a healthy lifestyle regardless of whether you have money or not. to be content in both situations. But like with the Matthew Perry, the guy has never been in poverty, so he's never learned how to be content. He's always had money, so he never learned how to be content without money. And I was also talking about a lot of these wealthy people are just not happy. There's only a certain level of money that makes you happy. After you pass, I think there was a study done that, like on psychologytoday.com, they have a study that says money actually does make you happy, but only up to $60,000 a year. After that, money has no effect on your emotional state. So, and the more money you have, obviously, the more lonely you're going to be because you don't have real friends. You have friends people are just around you for your money. And I've experienced that myself, not because I have money, but because I've had wealthy friends who have told me, like, the only reason I'm friends with you is because you're the only one that doesn't ask me for money.
That's messed up. Well, you know what? I am going to, guys. This is video 14 for me. If we're gonna count this, because the live stream, we're gonna count this. This has been going for an hour and a half, hour and 35. I put out 13 videos today. This is video 14 for me. So I am going to, I have some food on the way. I'm gonna go and treat myself because I worked hard for it. So I will give you the final word before we're gonna wrap up here because I gotta go down and grab my food in a moment. So go ahead and wrap up, bro.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for this special Christmas live stream. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Hey, we just had fun today. Look forward to future live streams, future topics coming up. We're going to keep doing this. So we appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, if it's Christmas Day for you, wherever you're at. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you guys next time.
Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And you want to say it with me, bro? Let's go.
And cheers.